I work for PhDs, and they come up with studies that they want to do related to drift control, efficacy. We also study equipment systems. We invented a system, the electrostatic system. So they'll write up their program plans of what they want to do, and they'll email it out. And we review it. We have meetings, and we usually start early in the morning and at the crack of dawn and start flying. Then they're out in the field, and I'm at the airport. We load up the airplane with, usually 90% of the time, it's water with a fluorescent dye. We go out there. I have a copy of the flight plan and what they're going to do. We have radios. We communicate. I have the fun part, flying the airplane. They're out in the hot sun. I've got pretty good ventilation. So one time we did 2 studies in one day, and that was too much. It almost killed us, the heat stroke and all that. But we usually do 1 study a day. And I usually come back and land at Riverside, and we change booms out a lot of the time. So we have somebody there. We change out booms with different nozzles, and we have to coordinate. I had to reserve the runway with Bob Rudder, who was very good at getting things set up for that, so that no one else would be out there while we were flying. And we got along really good with A&M. They really helped us and cooperated with us. Some of the testing we actually did at Riverside on the runway. So I did a lot of low flying. I'm sure I made a lot of noise, but they're at the airport too.
Talk about the last flights. Obviously you had to ferry the aircraft to other places.
Well, we got notice about a year ahead that our contract was going to come to an end and we'd have to move. So we started looking for another place to go. So I found a place at Brenham Airport, big hangar that'll hold all the aircraft. So we started renting that. In the meantime, the construction just started on our new permanent hangar at Coulter Field in Bryan. We also have wind tunnels that we use, and sometimes I help. When I'm not flying, I become a lab rat, helping them with the studies, and little stuff like that. But and the wind tunnel work. So once we knew we had moved, there came a day when I knew it would be the last flight, and we flew each airplane one at a time, each aircraft one at a time over to Brenham. And it was something that I noted and thought of, that this is going to be my last flight at the old Bryan Air Base. I knew the history. I knew when I was taxiing the airplane out, I could visualize T-33s and T-6 Texans with the famous astronauts flying them and the other stuff they did during World War II, all the history of that. It was always in the back of my mind, so I felt that sense of history.
And you have a sheet of paper over here that lists the dates for those. What were they?
Yeah, I got these out of my logbook, and July the 28th of last year, the Cessna 206.
And when you say last year, 2017?
2017, and it was me and Fred. Fred runs the camera systems, the technician. So we flew over to Brenham, and then the last flight was July 31st, 17, and that ag plane that we have has a back seat. Most of them don't, but sometimes the scientists ride back there, and they have equipment and stuff like that. So Dan went with me on the last flight over to Brenham. And then the very last flight, since we didn't have to reserve the runway for the helicopter, I could take it later. We were still moving things, so we still had the helicopter in storage till the last minute. And that was the Robinson, and that was August the 11th. That was the last flight. And every flight I put it in my logbook, last flight out of, I put Riverside, rather than Relisk. I haven't learned that term yet, really, but